A legendary restaurant empire faces a big problem. Folks, let me tell you something. When you build something great, when you create a legendary business, people notice. And that's exactly what happened with Sullivan's Fine Dining and Delivery. My restaurant empire. We weren't just another chain. We were the best. 5-star reviews, celebrity guests, unmatched service, the finest ingredients. That's what made us famous. And we didn't just stop at fine dining, we perfected delivery. People wanted luxury meals at home. And we made it happen. Hot, fresh, 5-star meals delivered straight to their door. That's what we promised. That's what we built. But recently, something changed. The warning signs. Complaints start pouring in. Now, folks, I'm a businessman. I know success when I see it. And for years, we dominated. We were untouchable. But then, I started hearing things. Little whispers. A few bad reviews here and there. Nothing major. Right? Wrong. Because those whispers? They became a roar. Food arrived cold. Not what I expected. Missing items. Paid for extra. Didn't get it. Delivery took forever. By the time it got here, it was disgusting. And let me tell you, folks, that's not how we do business. Not on my watch. But here's the real kicker. I wasn't just hearing complaints from customers. No. I was hearing things from inside my own business. I had suppliers telling me orders were changing. Ingredients weren't as fresh. I had staff hinting that managers were cutting corners. And worst of all, I heard rumors that my customers were being cheated. That's unacceptable. That's a disaster. Time to get the truth. Now, I could have sat back, read reports, trusted my managers. But let me tell you something. That's not how a winner operates. When you want the truth, you don't take someone's word for it. You see it for yourself. So I made a decision. A big one. I wasn't just going to ask questions. I was going undercover. That's right, folks. I was about to become a delivery driver for my own restaurant. And let me tell you, what I discovered was worse than I ever imagined. Stay tuned. This story is just getting started. The master plan. Going undercover as a delivery driver. Folks, when you want to get to the truth, when you really want to know what's going on, you don't rely on reports. You don't listen to middle managers telling you, everything's fine, boss, because let me tell you, things were not fine. My world-class restaurant chain, Sullivan's Fine Dining and Delivery, was supposed to be the best. The absolute best. 5-star meals, incredible service, luxury delivered right to your door. That's what we promised. But now, the complaints were piling up. Food arriving cold, orders missing items, customers feeling cheated. And let me tell you something. Folks, that doesn't happen in my business. Not on my watch. So, I had two choices. 1. Sit in my fancy office, read reports, and hope for the best. Week 2. Get out there, see it with my own eyes, and expose the truth. Winner. And let me tell you, folks, I chose option 2. Creating the perfect disguise. Now, I couldn't just walk into one of my restaurants and start asking questions. Oh no. If the employees knew the boss was watching, they'd put on a show. They'd clean things up, act professional, pretend everything was perfect. Fake. I needed to see what was happening when nobody thought the boss was looking. So I made a decision. I was going undercover as a delivery driver. That's right. The owner of a multi-million-dollar restaurant empire was about to start at the bottom. No VIP treatment. No respect. Just another guy in the system. But if you're going to do this, folks, you have to do it right. So I built a brand new identity. New name, Mike Reynolds. Simple. Forgettable. Nobody would suspect a thing. Old car. I ditched the luxury sedan and got a beat-up old sedan. Something real. Something believable. Shabby clothes. No suits. No Rolex. Just a basic hoodie, worn-out jeans, and sneakers that had seen better days. Fake papers. I created a brand new driver profile. No connections to my company. Just another gig worker trying to make ends meet. And just like that, I was in. The first steps into the unknown. I signed up for my own company's delivery system like any other driver. No special treatment. No one knew who I was. And let me tell you, folks, it was eye-opening from the start. The onboarding process? A joke. Barely any training. Just a quick sign up and a good luck. The communication? Terrible. Messages were delayed. Orders were unclear. The pay? Let's just say I was starting to understand why some drivers didn't care about service. And guess what? Not a single person recognized me. That was huge, because now, I could see everything, the good, the bad, and the downright disgraceful. Folks, I was about to uncover the biggest disaster in my company's history. And let me tell you, it was worse than I ever imagined. Stay tuned, the real story is just beginning. Day 1 as a delivery driver, the first shocking discovery. Folks, let me tell you something. I've built businesses. I've made deals worth millions. I've sat at tables with the most powerful people in the world. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for my first day as a delivery driver. This was my company, my empire, Sullivan's Fine Dining and Delivery. A restaurant chain built on excellence. 5-star meals, first-class service, everything perfect. That's what I promised my customers. That's what they expected. But let me tell you, folks, what I saw on my first day. It was a disaster. A complete and total disaster. Step 1. Picking up my first order, the nightmare begins. Now, folks, I thought I'd walk into one of my restaurants, grab my first order, and hit the road. Simple, right? Wrong. I show up at the back entrance, like any other driver. No one greets me. No one acknowledges me. I stand there, waiting, while kitchen staff rush past me like I don't even exist. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, still no food. Finally, I ask one of the workers, "Hey, I'm here for an order." And do you know what he says? Yeah, we'll get to it." Excuse me? This is a company that promises fast, reliable delivery. Customers are paying premium prices for gourmet meals. And here I am, standing around like a fool, waiting. And then, folks, I saw something even worse. Step 2. The food was a joke. When I finally got the order, it was a disgrace. The food was cold, like it had been sitting there for an hour. The packaging? A mess. Grease stains, leaking containers, completely unacceptable. And worst of all, it didn't match the order. The ticket said, "Premium steak dinner, one of our top-selling dishes." Customers pay big money for it. But inside the bag? The steak? Overcooked, dry, a total embarrassment. The side dishes? Missing, completely missing. The dessert? Replaced with something cheaper. And when I asked about it, one of the kitchen guys just shrugged. They won't notice. They won't notice? Folks, let me tell you something, they notice. When people pay for quality, they expect quality. And if you don't give it to them, they walk away. Forever. Step 3. Nobody cared. Now, I thought maybe, just maybe, this was a one-time thing. Maybe it was a busy night. Maybe someone made a mistake. But then, I started talking to the other delivery drivers. And guess what? This was normal. Missing food? Happens all the time. Cold meals? Every shift. Customers complaining? Constantly. And do you know what these drivers told me? We get the blame for it. That's right. The customers don't yell at the restaurant. They yell at the drivers. The people doing the actual work. Folks, I was furious. Absolutely furious. This wasn't just bad business. This was theft. My customers were being cheated. My reputation was being destroyed. And let me tell you something, I wasn't going to stand for it. The beginning of a revolution. So here's what I did. Folks, I took that first order. I delivered it. I saw the disappointment on the customer's face, and I made a decision. I wasn't just going to investigate anymore. I was going to fix this. Because this was unacceptable. And when I confronted the people responsible, they never saw it coming. Stay tuned, because the real fireworks are about to begin. Exposing the scam. How customers were getting cheated. Folks, let me tell you something, when people order food, they expect to get what they paid for. It's simple. It's fair. That's how business works. But let me tell you, that's not what was happening. I went undercover as a delivery driver for my own restaurant chain, Sullivan's Fine Dining and Delivery. And what I found? A total scam. Customers were being cheated, lied to, completely ripped off. And guess what? Nobody cared. But I cared. And when I saw the truth, oh, folks, I was furious. Trick 1. Cheap substitutions, they won't notice. Now, folks, imagine this. You order a premium steak dinner. You pay top dollar for it. You're expecting a beautifully cooked filet mignon, fresh sides, everything perfect. But what do you get? 1. A lower quality cut of meat, tough, overcooked, Not even close to what was promised. 2. Sides that weren't even the same. Customers paying for truffle mashed potatoes were getting plain mashed from a mix. 3. Desserts missing or swapped. People ordering gourmet cheesecake were getting cheap store-bought slices. And when I asked the kitchen staff about it, it's fine, they won't know the difference. Excuse me? Folks, let me tell you, customers always notice. People know when they're being scammed. And if you think you can get away with it, you're finished. Trick 2. Cutting portions to increase profits. Now, this one was unbelievable. I started paying attention to the orders I was delivering. I checked the receipts. I checked the packaging. And guess what? Customers were being shorted on purpose. Portions were getting smaller. Same price. Less food. Extra charges for full-sized meals, without actually giving them full-sized meals. Half-filled containers. Customers paying for large entrees getting barely enough for a kid's meal. And the worst part? Management knew. I overheard a conversation between a supervisor and a cook. Just cut back on portions. We're making more money this way. Disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Trick 3. Deliberate delays. Blame the driver. Now, folks, here's where things got even worse. I always thought delivery delays were because of traffic, bad weather, normal stuff. But no, it was intentional. I found out that some restaurants were deliberately delaying orders. Why? To avoid refund policies if an order was late because of the restaurant. They'd have to compensate the customer. But if they blamed the driver, no refund. To force customers to accept cold food if it's late. It's too much hassle to complain. To punish drivers who ask too many questions, make them wait. Ruin their night, make them quit. And guess what? The customers always blamed the drivers. I saw one driver get yelled at by a customer for delivering a cold, soggy meal. It wasn't his fault. The food had been sitting in the restaurant for 45 minutes before he even got it. And when I confronted a manager about it, that's just how the system works. No, that's how corruption works. Enough was enough. At this point, I had seen enough. Customers were being cheated. Employees were being mistreated. My business, my reputation, was being destroyed. So let me tell you something. Folks, I wasn't just going to sit back and watch. I was about to expose everything. And when I did, the people responsible would never see it coming. Stay tuned, because the next move? It was going to be big. Deliveries and shocking conversations. The truth customers never knew. Folks, let me tell you something. When you run a first-class business, when you build a world-class brand, you expect excellence. You expect your customers to be treated right. But after going undercover as a delivery driver for my own restaurant chain, I discovered the truth. And let me tell you, folks, it was shocking. This wasn't just bad service. This wasn't just a few mistakes. This was fraud. This was disrespect. This was a total disaster. And the worst part? The customers had no idea what was really happening. Delivery won the angry mother. Now, folks, my first delivery of the day was supposed to be simple, an order for a mother and her 2 kids. She had ordered our signature family meal, a full-course dinner. Fresh and hot. But when I got there, she was furious. Mother, are you kidding me? Half the food is missing. Me, ma'am, this is what they gave me. Mother, I paid $50 for this. There's no side dishes, no dessert, my kids are hungry. Folks, let me tell you, this was not her fault. It wasn't my fault, either. The kitchen had deliberately cut corners, shorted her order, charged full price, and hoped she wouldn't complain. Disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. And do you know what she said? This isn't the first time. I'm never ordering from this place again. That, folks, is how you lose customers forever. Delivery 2. The furious businessman. Next up, a corporate order. A businessman, working late, ordered a premium steak dinner. Now, folks, this is a big spender, the kind of customer we built our brand around. We're talking about a $75 meal, premium steak, gourmet sides, everything top-notch. But when I handed him the bag, he opened it, looked inside, and said, "What the hell is this?" Folks, the meal was a joke. The steak was cold, overcooked, and dry. The mashed potatoes? A tiny portion. The sauce? Completely missing. And do you know what he said next? I could have gone to a fast food place and gotten something better for $10. Folks, he was right. And just like that, another lost customer. Delivery 3: The heartbreaking conversation. Now, folks, this one hit me hard. I delivered to an elderly man, probably in his 70s. He lived alone, ordered the same meal every single week. But when I handed him his food, he looked at me and said, "Son, I don't know what's going on, but this food hasn't been the same for months. It used to be fresh. Now it's cold, tastes different. I don't complain because I know you guys are busy. But it's not what it used to be." Folks, let me tell you, that hurt. This man had been a loyal customer for years. And instead of giving him the quality he deserved, my restaurant had been cheating him. And do you know what he said at the end? "I don't know if I'll keep ordering. It's just not the same anymore." Enough was enough. After these deliveries, I knew the problem was worse than I thought. Customers were being lied to. Food was being prepared carelessly. Loyal patrons were being driven away. And the worst part? Nobody inside the company seemed to care. But I cared. A lot. So let me tell you something. Folks, this was about to change. Because when I'm in charge, failure is not an option. Stay tuned, because the next move? It was going to be huge. Undercover in the kitchen, a horrifying discovery. Folks, let me tell you something. When you build a brand, when you create a first-class restaurant, you expect things to run at the highest level. You expect excellence. But after going undercover as a delivery driver for my own company, I realized something was very, very wrong. Customers were complaining. Orders were a mess. Food was cold, missing, not what they paid for. And let me tell you, I wanted answers. So I did what real leaders do. I went straight to the source. I walked into the kitchen, disguised as just another driver. No one knew who I was. No one suspected a thing. And what I found, folks, it was worse than I ever imagined. Step 1. A kitchen in chaos. The second I stepped into the kitchen, I knew this place was a disaster. Dirty counters, grease stains, unwashed dishes piled up, overcrowded, disorganized, nobody working together, shouting, arguing, a complete lack of professionalism. Folks, this wasn't a 5-star kitchen. This was a war zone. I saw cooks rushing orders, not caring what they were sending out. I saw waitstaff ignoring basic food safety rules. I even saw one guy drop a piece of chicken on the floor and put it back on the plate. I couldn't believe it, but it was about to get worse. Step 2. The food fraud. Now, folks, I built this company on quality. Fresh ingredients, 5-star meals. That's what we promised. But what I saw, it was a scam, a total scam. Frozen food being passed off as freshly made. Expired ingredients being reused, because customers won't know. Chefs deliberately cutting portions to save money. And when I asked about it, just throw some extra sauce on it. They won't notice. Folks, they noticed. And let me tell you, I noticed too. Step 3. The management cover-up. Now, here's where things got even worse. I overheard 2 managers talking. And do you know what they said? The boss never checks. We do whatever we want. Just keep the costs down. Who cares if a few customers complain? Drivers take the blame anyway. It's not our problem. Excuse me? Not our problem? Let me tell you something. When you lie to customers, when you cheat people out of their money, when you destroy the reputation of my company, it is my problem. And at that moment, folks, I knew exactly what I had to do. Step 4. The calm before the storm. I had seen enough. I walked out of that kitchen, heart pounding, fists clenched, knowing exactly what was coming next. I wasn't just going to fix this. I was going to expose everything. And when I finally revealed who I was, they would never see it coming. Stay tuned, folks, because the next move? It was going to be huge. The showdown. Confronting the kitchen staff and management. Folks, let me tell you something. When I see failure, when I see fraud, when I see my company being destroyed from the inside, I don't sit back. I take action. I had gone undercover as a delivery driver for my own restaurant chain, Sullivan's Fine Dining and Delivery. I had seen the lies, the scams, the total disaster happening in my kitchens. Food quality? A joke. Customers? Cheated. Kitchen operations? A complete disgrace. And worst of all, the people in charge knew. So, let me tell you, it was time to confront them. Step 1. Walking into the fire. I walked straight back into that kitchen, but this time, I wasn't playing along. No more undercover. No more pretending. It was time to face the people responsible. The head chef, the kitchen staff, The managers, they all stood there. Clueless. They had no idea what was coming. I started simple. Me. So, how's business? They shrugged, smirked, some even laughed. Manager. Busy as usual. You picking up another order? Driver? Folks, let me tell you, that smirk didn't last long. Step 2. Dropping the bombshell. I took a step forward, crossed my arms, and said it loud and clear. I own this restaurant. Boom. Silence. Total silence. The head chef turned pale. The manager froze. Some employees looked like they were about to pass out. And then, the excuses started. Manager, sir, we had no idea. If we had known. Chef, this isn't how things usually are. It's just a bad night. Employee, we were just following orders. Wrong. All of them, wrong. Step 3. Calling out the lies. I wasn't there to listen to excuses. I was there to deliver the truth. Customers being lied to? I saw it myself. Cold food. Missing items? I delivered them. Fake premium meals? I watched them being made. Deliberate delays? I overheard the managers. And when I said it all out loud, oh, folks, they had nothing to say. Some looked at the floor. Some tried to sneak away. And the head chef? He tried one last desperate move. Chef, sir, if we start giving customers everything they pay for, we'll lose money. It's just business. Excuse me? I stepped forward, stared him down, and said, lying to customers isn't business. It's fraud. And guess what? You're done. Step 4. Cleaning house. Right then and there, I fired him. The head chef? Gone. The corrupt manager? Fired. Any employee who had been part of the scam? Out. And the good employees, the ones who had been forced to follow orders, they finally spoke up. We hated this system. We were afraid to say anything. We want to do things the right way. And let me tell you, folks, that's when I knew the real work was about to begin. Because firing the bad guys? That was just step 1. Now, it was time to rebuild. Stay tuned, because what happens next? It's going to be huge. The big reveal, a nightmare for the scammers. Folks, let me tell you something. When you build a business, when you put your name on something, you expect excellence. You expect honesty, integrity, the very best. But what I found when I went undercover, it was disgraceful. It was fraud. It was a total betrayal. And now, it was time to expose it all. Step 1. The moment of truth. I walked into the kitchen, this time, not as a delivery driver. This time, as the owner. The staff looked confused. They had no idea what was coming. And then I said it. Loud, clear, unmistakable. I'm not just a delivery guy. I own this place. Boom. Panic, shock, fear. The head chef turned red. The manager's jaw dropped. The staff? They froze. Some tried to play it cool. Some tried to run. But folks, let me tell you, there was nowhere to hide. Step 2. Exposing the lies. I called them out. Every single scam. Every single lie. Cutting portions. Lying to customers. Serving cold, expired food. Stealing from the brand. Blaming drivers for the mistakes of the kitchen. And when I laid it all out, nobody could deny it. Some of the staff, the good ones, finally spoke up. We hated it. We knew it was wrong. But we were afraid. They told us if we said anything, we'd be fired. Well, let me tell you something. They weren't the ones getting fired today. Step 3. Justice is served. I looked the head chef in the eye and said, "You're done. Get out." The corrupt manager? Fired. Any employee who had been part of the scam? Gone. And the honest workers? They finally saw what real leadership looked like. Because, folks, let me tell you something. This wasn't just about firing people. This was about taking back my business. And guess what? I wasn't done yet. Stay tuned, because the real transformation was just beginning. The revolution begins, cleaning house and restoring greatness. Folks, let me tell you something. When a system is broken, you don't patch it up. You tear it down and rebuild it stronger than ever. That's exactly what I was about to do. After exposing the fraud, the scams, the absolute disgrace happening inside my own restaurant chain, it was time for real change. This wasn't going to be some little fix. This was a revolution, a total transformation. And let me tell you, folks, it was going to be big. Step 1. Firing the rotten core. First things first, the bad apples had to go. The corrupt managers? Fired. The head chef who scammed customers? Gone. Any employee who thought cheating people was just business. Out. I wasn't playing games. Folks, you lie, you cheat, you steal from customers. You have no place in my company. And let me tell you, when I walked into that final meeting and said, if you were part of the problem, leave now, you should have seen their faces. Some left on the spot. Some begged to stay. But folks, I don't negotiate with frauds. They were done. Step 2. Rebuilding with the right people. Now, you can't just clean house. You have to bring in the right people. You need winners. You need people who actually care. So I personally handpicked a new leadership team. Chefs who believed in real quality. Not shortcuts. Managers who valued customers, not just profits. Employees who took pride in their work. And let me tell you something. Folks, you could feel the change immediately. The mood was different. The energy was different. People weren't afraid anymore. They were excited. They knew we were building something great. Step 3. Fixing the system, no more shortcuts. Now, let's talk about the real problem. The system, the culture. I made it very clear, things were going to be different. No more cutting portions. Customers get exactly what they pay for. No more lying about ingredients. Fresh, high-quality food, every single time. No more blaming delivery drivers. If the kitchen messes up, we own it. No more fake promotions. If we promise something, we deliver. And the biggest rule? If you don't take pride in your work, if you don't respect the customer, you don't belong here. The turning point, a new era begins. Folks, this wasn't just a business reset. This was a new beginning. I gathered the new team, looked them in the eye, and said, we're not just fixing a restaurant. We're setting a new standard. This will be the best dining and delivery service in the country. Period. And you know what? They believed it. Because when you have the right leadership, the right people, the right vision, nothing can stop you. The revolution had begun, and success was just around the corner. Stay tuned, because the comeback? It was going to be huge. The ultimate comeback, a restaurant reborn. Folks, let me tell you something, they thought we were finished. The critics, the scammers, the people who tried to destroy my business. They thought we wouldn't recover. They were wrong. Because when real leadership steps in, when you clean house, fix the system, and bring back excellence, you don't just recover. You dominate. And let me tell you, folks, that's exactly what we did. Step 1. Winning back the customers. Now, after all the damage, we had to earn back trust. And let me tell you, folks, we did it the right way. Better food, better service, no more lies. Guaranteed quality. If something wasn't perfect, we fixed it. Faster delivery, fresher meals, hot, on time, every time. And guess what? The customers noticed. Old customers returned. New customers flooded in. Positive reviews replaced the bad ones. The word spread fast. Sullivan's fine dining and delivery was back. Step 2. Record-breaking success. Now, folks, let's talk numbers, because numbers don't lie. Sales? Skyrocketed. Customer satisfaction? Through the roof. Delivery times? Faster than ever. We weren't just recovering, we were bigger, better, and stronger than before. Step 3. A lesson in leadership. Let me leave you with this. Folks, businesses don't fail because of bad employees. They fail because of bad leadership. We got rid of the frauds. We restored integrity. We rebuilt a winning culture. And the result? An empire reborn. So to anyone out there facing a business crisis, remember this. Take control, clean house, demand excellence. Because when you lead with vision, when you put the customer first, you don't just survive, you thrive. Sullivan's fine dining and delivery isn't just back. Folks, we're at the top. And let me tell you, we're never coming down. What do you think about the above story? What is the lesson here? Please comment your thoughts on the above story. Don't forget to like and subscribe to receive more stories.